Hello everyone, this is Prajapati. Welcome back to our virtual class. Chapter The Footprints Without Feet is now on, the interesting twist that something, extraordinary things are happening here. One extraordinary thing happened with the clergyman and his wife, and now more extraordinary thing happened with the Mrs. Hall. So let's see what happened with her. The landlord, from this paragraph we have to continue here. Listen here. The landlord and his wife were up very early, right? Were up, that means they woke up very early, and were surprised to see the scientist's door wide open. And what they saw, that the scientist's door, that in which he was residing there, that door was wide open. Usually it was shut and locked. Yes, it used to be shut and locked, but it was open on that day. And he was furious if anyone entered his room. And he was furious, worried. Yes, Mr. Hall was furious and he was worried that somebody had entered into that room. And the opportunity seemed too good to be missed. And the opportunity, the chance to check inside the room, that was too good that they didn't want to miss that chance, right? They peeped around the door. They were actually watching round the door what was inside. Saw nobody. Nobody was there, and decided to investigate and decided to check. The bedclothes were cold. Bedclothes, the bed sheet was cold. That means nobody was sleeping over there for a long time, right? And showing that the scientist must have been up for some time. Yes, it showed that the scientist was, not there actually. He had gone from there, and the stranger still, the clothes and the bandages, that then the stranger still, and one more stranger thing happened over there, that the clothes and the bandages that he always wore were lying about the room. Clothes of the scientist and the bandages which he tied on his forehead, all things were lying over there. Now, all of a sudden, Mrs. Hall heard a sniff close to her ear. And now what happened? All of a sudden, suddenly, Mrs. Hall heard a sniff, like somebody was smelling and sniffing the nose sound, that close to her ear. And a moment later, the hat on the bedpost, the hat on the bed, and leaped, just jumped up and danced and dashed itself into her face. What she saw, actually, there was a hat on the bed, and suddenly it jumped and it came towards her face. And then the bedroom chair became alive. Then the bedroom chair became alive, and springing into the air, it charged straight at her and legs foremost. And what happened when they saw the chair? Chair was in the air, it was springing and it was coming towards them straight, legs foremost. Its legs were ahead, right? You can see that somebody is having and holding that chair, then the legs could be the next side, next onwards. So as she and her husband turned away in terror, like in fear, they turned away, they moved from the place. Extraordinary chair pushed them and both out of the room, and then appeared to slam and lock the door after them. So what did that chair do? Chair actually pushed those both Mrs. Hall and Mr. Hall out of the room, and finally the door was slammed and locked after them. Mrs. Hall almost fell down and the stairs in hysterics, like getting faint, unconscious, little bit like. And she was convinced that the room was haunted by the spirits. Now she was convinced, she believed that the room was actually haunted by, few spirits, ghost kind of things like, and that the stranger had somehow caused those to enter into her furniture. And they were guessing actually that the stranger was actually somehow the reason, cause behind these all things or incident or event happened there to enter into the furniture, like something was happening with the furniture, how it was moving and flying into the air, springing, right? Door was closed, everything. So they were actually guessing that, behind everything there was that stranger. Actually, he did something there. My poor mother. Now what she's saying, that my poor mother used to sit in that chair, she moaned. And now she was thinking that her mother used to sit in that chair, she moaned, she was groaning, she was crying actually, and to think it should rise up against me now. And she was again thinking that now the chair would come towards her again. It would be springing into the air and it would come towards me. She was thinking. Okay. The feeling among the neighbors was that the trouble was caused by witchcraft, and now neighbors were talking about that, what was happening there into the house. They guessed again, they expected again that, everything was because of any witchcraft or any magic or magicians, or like any koi jadoo tona ho sakta hai. But witchcraft or not, when news of the burglary at the clergyman's home became known, the strange scientist was strongly suspected of having a hand in it. Yes, first they expected that there could be any witchcraft, right? And when they heard the burglaries news at clergyman's home, like, then they actually joined these two incidents, and then they came on the conclusion that, the strange scientist was actually there could be behind all of the things. Yes, the scientist suspected of having had a hand in it. Yes, behind all those things there could be that scientist. They guessed, they expected, right? Suspicion grew even stronger. Suspicion grew even stronger when he suddenly produced some ready cash, though he had admitted not long before that he had no money. And their doubt became stronger when he produced some ready cash. Yes, earlier, previously, just not for, just not before so much time, like he said to Mrs. Hall that he had no money, and that check was coming, and like, and then he will give her money. But how early he produced that money. So as he, gave that money to Mrs. Hall, like that, their doubt, their guess, actually how they were thinking about that man, that yes, he could be behind all those things. Their doubt became clear. Their doubt was clear actually, and they believed that yes, that was the man, that was the stranger, actually he did everything there. Okay. And now the village constable was secretly sent for. And now what did they do, all of them? They actually, the village constable, they called for the village constable, right? And instead of waiting for the constable, Mrs. Hall went to the scientist. And Mrs. Hall, she couldn't control on herself, and she went to the scientist, who had somehow mysteriously appeared from his empty bedroom. And how he had actually appeared from somewhere. Actually, when they entered into the room, there was nobody, only his, clothes and bandages were there, like, and they had seen nobody over there. But and the door was locked, but that the scientist was inside because he was invisible. Now Mrs. Hall was asking him that from where you had come, from this empty bedroom. Yes, where you were. I want to know. I want to know you have been what you have been doing to my chair upstairs. And she, questioned him that what you were doing with the chair, and she demanded. And I want to know how it is you come out of an empty room and how you entered a locked room. Yes, that was a big question to them, because they didn't know that how he was invisible, but an invisible man. Actually, he had this, magic. Actually, we can say that because of the experiment he got succeed, and that's how he was invisible, and he could be visible wearing cloths and bandages applying on his forehead. But being invisible, he was doing everything. So that was actually a surprise for all of them. So they were asking, Mrs. Hall was asking him that how did you, appear, and actually how did you appear from this empty room? Where were you, and how the door was locked, and how you entered inside, and everything, whatever they have, the queries they were curious to know about. So they were questioning and asking him. Okay. So that's all for the day, students. The last part, what happened in the story, we'll see into our next class. And in today's homework, one more question which was left in our previous class, you can get the answer now in today's reading. You can see that what other extraordinary things happened at the end. So the next incident happened with Mrs. Hall and Mr. Hall. You can write that incident as in the answers. Okay. So that's all for the day. Thank you so much. Bye bye.